The connection I have to South Korea after viewing their art in the form of media is something I can only describe as an experience. This scene is from a game titled Stellar Blade, which was created by Shift Up, a Korean studio, and this scene where Eve, the protagonist, is falling in space touched a spot in my mind I never knew existed. I was experiencing something called... In the research paper done by Saudi of RMIT University, aesthetic shock is described as an effect that makes one aware of meaning and drive beyond the world that they experience. When referring to Korean media, and no, I'm not talking about the Korea that's led by the man with the funny haircut. Please don't nuke my house, Kim Jong-un. I am poor. South Korean media has one of, if not the most vibrant media I've ever laid my eyes upon. The vibe, the music, their movies and series, all of their games too, just hit me with the biggest aesthetic shock I could ever receive from a media out there. K-dramas going viral did feel like some sort of divine intervention. When looking back at it, only one needed to reach that success level. Out of 8 billion people around the world, one man took Korean media to the next level, and that right there was nobody, and I mean nobody, believed in Hwang. He had been rejected by investors and studios for 10 years. The man even had to sell his laptop at one point to make sure he could eat. But after all that rejection, he finally got accepted to bring us the show that graced us with the beautiful CGI dog. Yes, I am talking about Squid Game. Despite season 3 not being my favorite, I mean, granted, there were times where I felt the need just to mentally check out. We can all agree that Squid Games came out of nowhere and redefined what type of vibes need to be carried within shows. Even though the show was serious with PTSD man aura farming every second he gets, it was still this vibrant, ominous show that gave you such a feeling that only Korean dramas can. It's the juxtaposition between both the serious tone of the show and the colors they present in the environmental design. It's not just about the story but how they told it too. Instead of providing fan service, they kill off your favorite characters, making you feel something. And that's what I feel most media struggle with these days. Making art that appeals to everyone is not art. Alexander Baumgarten brought us the term aesthetics, and he defined it as the science of sensitive knowing, focusing on how we perceive and understand the world through our senses in relation to art. We've been exposed to art that originates from the West to the point where it just becomes normal, but look at how we are exposed to Korean media. We felt some sort of aesthetic shock. Stanford wrote about how Alexander Baumgarten. Stanford wrote about how Alexander Baumgarten defined aesthetics by perception. The way I saw and experienced things when I looked into Korea's media, I did feel some sort of
ecstasy.
Now I have to come out and confess something to you guys. Although it might seem like it, I'm not actually, Korean. But don't get me wrong, I am familiar with the culture. 안녕하세요 여러분, 괜찮아? 아파트 홈스연 사랑해. I think that meant hi, how are you doing? Don't quote me on that. Point being, I can really get a feel for the culture whenever I'm experiencing their media, despite it coming out of nowhere. It's choosing what to consume media between something you already know and something that came out of nowhere. I realized that the media I love the most are the ones that come out of nowhere, no hype needed, and we can't deny that South Korea has aura. Seeing something new that originates from a place that we don't really know come out and succeed is a breath of fresh air. We genuinely need to have a talk about what South Korea is doing.
それってなんだかミステリー?
Yeah, exactly. The mystery is what keeps us locked in. We have the obvious example of Squid Game, and who would have thought that a show from South Korea would come out and be Netflix's biggest show ever? But when looking into other mediums as well, like anime, South Korea low-key kinda is dominating. I don't really watch anime like that anymore, but seeing Solo Leveling, a story that came from Korean media, winning Anime of the Year was definitely an eyebrow raiser. This show won over an anime called Frieren, the highest rated anime of all time according to my anime list. So to see South Korea come out and dominate the anime industry like that is also something that's really intriguing to see. Standord Blade, a Korean game that was released on PC this year after being on PS5 for the longest time, outperformed other PS5 games that were released on PC as well, such as God of War and even Spider-Man. All three of them. Listen, I play games. I do have about 200 games under my belt. And out of all the games I've played, Standord Blade touched that one spot in my mind I never knew existed. It provided me with the feeling that dreams are made out of when I play this game. And I'ma be real with you, this game just has so much aura. But it's not just Korean games that have this much aura. I'm talking the TV shows, music, and even the music videos as well are really impressive. I used to be impressed by these music videos, man. Look at the coordination. To be honest, if I was on the dance floor, I'm not doing any of that. I'm doing this. And best believe, I'm doing this with hearts. The flute on the song Bubblegum really got me dancing like this, and Chased by Heart to Hearts feels like I'm dancing on a cloud. Oh, and I'm gonna be real with you, Crazy by the Seraphim makes my little brother go crazy. I don't even have a little brother. Bro, who is this? Hi, quick editor's note. I want to mention that Korea isn't some sort of utopia that looks perfect like every video or K-drama that is out there. It's kind of like a cyberpunk dystopian country. More in the next video, so sub for that. But just keep that in mind. Korea can be very, very flawed like other countries out there. Just keep that in mind. When looking back at aesthetics defined by Alexander Baumgarten,
it was then Kwon realized
that it's not just about understanding everything you watch or listen to. It's about the experience when you
feel it.
I want to go there, inside your mind.
I watched a Netflix show called My Name about one girl who takes on the entirety of the Korean mafia all just because one of them killed her father. The action sequences in these scenes rival ones from Hollywood movies. Now I'm not gonna lie to you, the love stories in these shows can be a little bit repetitive, but damn, they are unmatched. I watched a Netflix show called Happiness, which was an apocalyptic themed show where people get infected and turn into these type of creatures and spread the infection. The thing about this show is that it is kind of like vibrant, and seeing these characters grow close to each other in a world that contrasts the dark theme with bright environments was really beautiful. One point, my sister kind of did introduce me to K-dramas and tell me why I'm out here longing, yearning to move to South Korea, adopt a dog named Ganwoo, and search for love. This right here is peak entertainment. Like, the only love stories we have in Africa is some dude asking a screaming lady why she's running.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
With a hint of domestic violence.
Ah! You slapped me, you monkey! Marry me.
Like, bro, what is this? 5 likes and I will travel all the way to South Korea to recreate the Why Are You Running scene in Korean. Seriously, I will download Duolingo. Now, when it comes down to the first piece of Korean media I've watched, funnily enough, that wasn't Squid Game. That was I watched Parasite and I realized that the Koreans were onto something. The vibe I caught while watching this was something I couldn't get from anything else. It felt fresh to see a new story involving fresh new faces without having to wear rose-tinted glasses all the time. It felt ominous and oddly warm too. And I failed to name a movie out there that is similar to this one in both vibe and story. When looking at the West, besides the movie Sinners, which is goated, most of what the West has been putting out lately is okay. Seeing Marvel rely on nostalgia and seeing them bring back Robert Downey Jr. was kinda low-key sad to see. And when it comes down to other media, I watched Ballerina, the John Wick spin-off, and seeing John Wick pull up despite seeing him die in the last movie genuinely made it feel like they couldn't depend on new faces and had to rely on nostalgia all the time. Don't get me wrong, I'm aware of when they filmed this, but at the same time, can you give these new people a chance to shine? Ana de Armas was doing her thing. Of course, we had to bring back people who didn't necessarily need to be brought back. Like, come on. I love Keanu Reeves as much as the next guy. Cyberpunk is my favorite game, but let Ana de Armas have her moments. There have been good films out there being produced by the West like sinners, but when it comes down to the big guys that are responsible for leading the way, it genuinely feels like they're stuck in the past. Everyone except for Christopher Nolan. Granted, he keeps on bringing back faces, but he knows what he's doing. If we look at what South Korea is doing, they are basically on a generational run right now. And that's by doing the opposite of what the West is doing. It does remind me of a quote which goes as follows.
어쩌면 인생도 이렇지 않을까? 남들과 다른 반대쪽을 향해 가면 좀 더 한산하고 좀 더 조용하고 평화롭지 않을까?
Also, Bae Suzy, if you are still watching this, please don't take your earphones off. Please notice me. Respond to my DMs, please. Don't take your earphones off. Don't let me fade away, please.